What are we doing next? It's exciting stuff. We are going in and we are looking at how the software works on these devices. And guess what? You're going to absolutely love it because there's no Metro interface. Sorry, Microsoft, I couldn't resist. What do we have when we configure these switches and these routers? We have a very convenient, very fast, very efficient, very stable, very, for the most part, common sense operating system called iOS software, Internetwork operating system, and we deal with it, we configure it at a command prompt like you saw a moment ago. To use the old computer joke, it's the dark place. Yeah, it's the dark place. It's like an old disk operating system or DOS interface. But it's really, really cool, really, really sophisticated, and you're going to love it. This slide I'm not going to talk to because it's a brochure for how awesome the iOS software is. It's secure. It's exciting. Woohoo! Whatever. Let's just go ahead and see for ourselves about iOS software. Now, there's really something interesting going on with a Cisco switch, and that is that when you get it out of the box, it's ready to go. Yeah, it's ready to go. And you saw that in our example here in the classroom, didn't you? Our switch had a MAC address table. Watch, show MAC address table. And we didn't do a darn thing to the switch. I mean, it was ready and raring to go right out of the box. We didn't do any type of configuration to that device whatsoever. It was absolutely ready to go. Routers, not so much. Yeah, routers are going to say, wait a minute here, I can't do a darn thing for you. And they will prompt for a configuration just like our switch did. But it's really interesting, the switch is ready to go. Obviously, we can always go in with the software and we can give it additional configuration to do just what we want it to do. By the way, when this device starts up, it looks for its hardware, it looks for its software, and then it applies your configuration. How do you give the device your configuration? Well, when you first get it in the mail, you're all excited, go to the doorstep, there's this big box from Cisco. Woo, it's my new switch. Yeah, awesome, can't wait. Your only option for giving it its configuration at that point is to connect with the console port. Yes, there is a port on the switch labeled CON. And no, this switch port isn't there to deceive you. It's not a con man port. It's a console port. And you have what's called a rollover cable, a flat cable that they ship you that connects to that console port and then connects to the serial or USB port on your PC. And then you fire up software like Microsoft's Hyper Terminal, or what I like to use, TerraTerm. Yeah, look at this. Go to Google and search on TerraTerm. And here it is. It's a nice, no, that's not it. TerraTerm, it's this one. You know what? I don't know what the right page is for it. There's a ton of them out there, right? There it is, freeware. TerraTerm, okay? Just carefully locate it. It's one of many that you could use. You could use the built-in Windows Hyper Terminal if you wanted to. Okay? So there's lots of options for making your connection. Okay. I said there's lots of options for software for the PC, but let me be clear. For making our connection, it's that rollover cable, and we're connecting to the console port on the device. Now, once you do that, once you give the device its initial configuration, then you can go in and you can, connect a modem to the auxiliary port, and you can modem connect to the device. You could connect via Telnet. You could connect via a trivial file transfer protocol server. You could connect via a web browser and configure your device. So you've got lots of options once you initially connect. So let me connect. Let me show you how this works. So what you'll first see is you'll see this. It says, okay, switch console 0 is now available. All right. And then it says press return to get started. All right. I'll hit return on the keyboard. And it brings us to the name of the device, switch. And it tells us that we are in a user mode with that greater than sign right there. User mode doesn't allow you to do much damage at all. Okay? There's a very limited set of commands that you can do there. You know what I've never done? Never counted it. Let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, roughly 30 commands available there. Okay? When we type enable, we go into a new mode with a new prompt, the pound sign, and now we can pound a configuration into this device. How many commands are available? A lot more than 30. Look at that. It's like 90 commands are available because now we can really configure the device. And here's what's so cool about the operating system. Help is only a question mark away. Let's say I want to set the time. I do clock question mark or question mark, and it says there is a clock command, Anthony, to set the time. So now I say clock, but I don't know what to do next. It says set. I don't know what to do next. So it says give the time. Shows me the format. Okay. La da 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 da. Let's see. That would be in military time, I believe. So it's la 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 la. Oh, I don't know what to do next. It says give the day of the month. Okay. Don't know what to do next. It says give the month of the year. All right. What to do next? The actual year only goes up to 2035. I guess that's when the world ends. And then we hit the enter key or carriage return. And we just set the clock. And notice it gives me a little warm, fuzzy confirmation that we just set the clock. Very cool. So context-sensitive help is the question mark, and it's going to be your best friend. You know what else is your best friend? Error messages. If you say clock set, current time, it says, look, you were doing okay up until you said current time, then I don't know what you're talking about. Invalid input detected right there. So very, very cool. You know what else happens on your device? Let me show you something. Show MAC address table. Show interface FA0/1. Show version. The switch just remembered everything I did. And if I say show history, it shows all of the commands that I did. And when you do the up and down arrow, it allows you to scroll through all of them to bring any one of them back immediately. Pretty cool. Let me show you something else that's really cool. You don't have to completely type everything at the command line. I can say CL and press the tab key. Oh, didn't type enough of the word. It doesn't know what I want to do. CLO, and it knew I wanted clock. S, tab, it knew I wanted set. Yeah, pretty cool. The tab key will auto-complete commands for you. By the way, if you ever have a hugely long command like this one, notice what will happen when you start to run out of room on that line. It'll show a $sign instead of the after the prompt to show you that you have scrolled off the screen. All great stuff for interacting with this particular software interface. Now, there's other great shortcuts that you can utilize. I told you tab automatically completes the remainder of a particular command. I said, well, I didn't tell you about any of these other ones, so I'm glad this slide exists for us. Control A moves us to the beginning of the command line. Control E moves us to the end. Backspace erases one character at a time. Control U erases the entire line. Control Shift 6 is a way to interrupt a process. Control C aborts. Control Z brings us back to the main configuration mode. Now, it would be terrible of me to end today's class and not teach you how to save the configuration that you're going to work so hard on. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, I want to configure from the terminal this device, and I want to give this device a new name. And because I'm originally from Worcester, Massachusetts, I'm going to give this name Red Sox Switch to the device. And I want to apologize in advance right now to any Yankees fans in the audience. So notice I just worked so hard to give this switch a new name. But we have to end our configuration and we have to save our configuration in order for it to actually be there if we should lose power. How we save our configuration on Cisco devices is copy running config in RAM to startup config in non-volatile RAM. Yep. The configuration in RAM to the non-volatile RAM. Now there's an easier way to do this. Copy, run, star. And that'll work in your exam because you don't have to type out all those big long words. Now, Joey says, I heard that you can use WR to save your config. That's short for write memory. That's awesome, and it works, but it won't work in the exam. So you're going to have to, in the exam, do a copy run star because WR or write memory won't work. My apologies. Yes, that's pretty silly of Cisco not to have that work. Well, are you feeling smart? Are you feeling educated about this stuff? Well, let's find out with some review questions. Which three apply to a switch? Uses a MAC address table, connects LAN segments, reduces the number of... Well, you know what? I'm not going to read to you. You read and chat in what you think is the correct answer. All right, which three apply to a switch? It uses a MAC address table. It connects LAN segments. It increases the number of collision domains. Great job. A, B, and D. It doesn't reduce the number of collision domains. And it doesn't always send a frame out all ports. It intelligently filters frames out certain ports. What happens when you boot a switch and there is no configuration in non-volatile RAM? The switch has no configuration. Does it enter a ROM-on mode? Well, we haven't talked about that, so I don't think that's right. It fails the post. We haven't talked about the post, so I don't think that's right. It enters a setup utility, or it enters privilege mode. Yeah, great job. We saw it. The switch enters a setup utility. It says, hey, do you want help setting me up? And remember, we said, no, we're really good. We're experts. We don't need any help setting you up. Our last question of the day, how would you view the configuration that is in RAM? How do you think you'd do that? Show startup config, show RAM, show current, show version, show running -config. How would we view the configuration that is in RAM? Yeah. Remember we did a copy running config to startup config? Great job. So to see the configuration that is in RAM, it would be show running config. Let's prove that. Let's bring that to life on our switch here in the studio. We'll do show running config. And it says, okay, I'm going to show you the running configuration of your switch. It shows every command and the default commands that were entered on this device. And one of the things we did to aggravate Yankees fans was we named the switch Red Sox Switch. Pretty cool. All right. Well, so many of you emailed me last night. You were like, we had so much fun. By the way, Steve asks, will shortcuts work in the exam? Steve, yes, they will. So you could do this in the exam and it'd work great. SH, run, and it would work. Yep. You don't have to type out show running config. You could just say sh run and it would work.